I will be 100% honest. I watched three Dodgers games, and they were the three Dodgers games that the Mariners didn't have to try to win because the Mariners had already clinched the division. And I've watched, I think, five or six Brewers games over the course of the season, including the Mariners games against the Brewers. I don't know enough to say who's going to win this matchup in the NLCS, but what I do know is I want to talk about what I want, the storylines I want coming out of the NLCS. These storylines are assuming the Mariners win the world or win the ALCS. So, Milwaukee, Milwaukee Brewers. There's been two Milwaukee Brewers. The current Baltimore Orioles were the first Brewers. They had existed in like 1903. You can look in the actual John Boy's Seattle Mariners documentary for more information about that. Second Brewers, the Brewers that exist now, moved to Milwaukee in 1970. After, in 1969, the American League expanded to Seattle with the Seattle Pilots, and it just failed because Seattle was not ready for Major League Baseball. And with that, the Pilots became the Brewers. They were the original Seattle baseball team. Obviously, there's been other Seattle baseball teams, including a Negro League baseball team in Seattle. And with that, we have the chance for a Seattle versus Seattle World Series. The Brewers and the Mariners have both never won a World Series. The Brewers obviously have been to a World Series, but they unfortunately have never won. The Mariners have never been to a World Series. In fact, they, until this year, had an equal amount of ruptured testicles on their players as they did playoff appearances. That would be a really cool storyline. Other cool storylines in terms of this particular matchup, if it's the Brewers versus the Mariners. This season, the Brewers were the best team in Major League Baseball. The Mariners had to crawl and fight 18 game winning streak, or 17 out of 18 games won in September to win the division. The Brewers were the best team in baseball. The Mariners had to fight for it. Yeah, okay, cool. Do they not have a catcher on the roster? Oh, William Contreras is their catcher. William Contreras is the catcher for the Brewers. This season, this season he scored 89 runs, 147 hits, batted 260. Batted 260. That's really good for a catcher. Home runs this season, though? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Why does it say he's only had two career home runs? Okay, that's because what? William Contreras. There's no way he's only had two career home runs. That doesn't make any sense. Especially considering he's had four in the last 30. The it's broken. According to okay, this is broken, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and look at BREF. Because obviously he hasn't had two home runs in his career if he had four in his last 30. Cal Raleigh, 60 home runs. 60 from a catcher. 60. Actually, it's 62. He has a chance at the American League record postseason included of 64, which is held by Aaron Judge. William Contreras had 3.9 BWAR this season with 89 runs scored and an OPS plus of 111, which is lower than his career OPS plus of 121. He stole six bases. This season for home runs, 17. Cal had 43 more from the catcher position. Absolutely wild to think that. Now let's talk about the Dodgers. Yeah, the Mariners lost to the Dodgers the last three games of the regular season, but those games didn't matter. Ultimately, in the standings, it didn't matter. The Mariners had met their magic number, and the Dodgers were actually still fighting for their playoff lives at that point and playing for the division to see who would win. They did eventually win the division, but they had to play in the wild card. And the Dodgers right now, they have arguably the best player in baseball in Shohei Ohtani. Two-way player, modern day Babe Ruth. He pitches, he catches, he pitches, he bats. You know what else? I could say that Cal is the modern day Babe Ruth. He pitches, he catches. Why is it so hard to find the roster for the Dodgers on their website? Um Shohei, two-way player. 55 home runs. First ever time in Major League Baseball somebody got exactly 55 home runs, which I'm surprised by. Teoscar Hernandez, former Mariner. We could see plenty of fun with that. I believe he's the only like big time former Mariner over there. Clayton Kershaw already has a horrible playoff legacy for a variety of reasons because his postseason career has been mismanaged and horrible. But he could go out, he could win a World Series, he could fix that. But or the Mariners could go ahead and ruin it. He made his last regular season start at T-Mobile Park on the last day of the regular season. Could he make his last postseason start at T-Mobile Park in the World Series? The the Dodgers this season were 93 and 69. The Mariners were 90 and 72. So a World Series between the Dodgers and the Mariners would go LA, LA, Seattle, 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 LA, LA. Um, it would be this. It would actually, if it were Toronto versus the Dodgers, Toronto would go Toronto, Toronto, LA, 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 Toronto, Toronto. The only one who has home field advantage guaranteed in the World Series is Milwaukee, no matter who wins the ALCS. They went 97 and 65. There were no 100-win teams this year. There are so many things that could happen. But I think the biggest storyline is Ichiro saying, go out there and seize the moment, and the Mariners doing it. And I think they can, and I think they will, and I think they'll do it over the Brewers.